Howard,
Yes.
Jeff Porter,
Yes.
Bill Olson,
Yes.
Ted Pappas,
Yes.
Fred Root,
Yes.
Ken Schroeder,
Yes.
Larry Stone,
Yes.
Brian Ansu,
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. And thanks again, Carl, and staff for doing all this work for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is a resolution to appoint Bart Eshelman to Public Building Commission.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Will he be immediately on the public building
Yeah,
commission?
he's, as of now. The next meeting is March? Yeah.
That's the date.
No, you guys are arguing for that. But effective, Doug McCall, handed his resignation, so he's no longer on it, the Bart replaces Doug. Yeah, Doug's done a very good job shepherding the jail through and things like that in construction. Okay, can we have a report from Sheriff Thompson now on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the 4th of December, I was contacted by Mr. Pappas, and he expressed some concern regarding the revenue and expenditures at the jail. So that he'd like to have a report regarding that, and I see on our agenda it says foreign prisoners, and I assume that that's probably the main focus of Mr. Pappas' concern. So we maybe kill two birds with one stone here. Before I get into that, though, I just, for the new members of the board, I'd kind of like to clarify something as far as how some of the numbers in the budget, at least as they apply to my department, come about. We started working on our budget, I guess, end of August, first part of September, and we had it in, I think, first part of October. Once we get it in the clerk's office, she makes copies for all the board members, and then that gives them an opportunity to look through it. We had a budget meeting, ours this year was on the 29th of October, and at that time, the board members had an opportunity to ask us questions, express any concerns they might have with some of the figures that are in there. And it gives us an opportunity also to answer some of those questions and answer some of those concerns. The whole thing takes about 40-45 minutes. Once it's all over and done with, they thank us for attending, give us our parting gifts, and we go on our way. The thing is, once that's over, then we, or at least I, never hear any more about it. I never got any more, no one came to the office or called me on the phone or left me any messages or any of that nature. So the next thing you know then, middle of November, the proposed budget magically appears in Mrs. Bewley's office on display for everyone to, everyone to see. And so we then, Paul and I, get the numbers off of that proposed budget, take it back and compare it with what we submitted, and then some of the numbers are the same, some of them are lower, which indicates to me that the board felt they need to be reduced. I think we had one that was actually raised. And I guess what I'm saying to you, and not just to the new members, but I guess to all of you, is that if there's some way in the future that we could have another meeting after, just before the proposed budget goes on display, so that the department heads can have a little idea of what, because there are numbers in here that I don't really know where they came from. Not that many, but I mean, and some of them you can kind of figure out, and we'll talk about one of those in a minute, but I'm just saying that I think it would be beneficial to not only the department heads, but the board members as well, to have maybe a second meeting just before it goes on display, so that we are all looking off the same page. But as far as the foreign inmates and expenditure of the jail goes, I'm looking at the revenue worksheet first, and what was appropriated there was $1,295,750. That was based on 71 foreign inmates, and we're talking about foreign inmates. Obviously, we're not talking about inmates from another country. We're talking about inmates who have been arrested by another agency and are taken in by us or kept in our facility for a certain price. We actually submitted, this year, I think we submitted $1,277,000, which was based on 70 inmates. The board's was based on 71. I don't have any problem with that. But I do think that's going to have to be rolled back a little, and here's why, is that that was based on those 71 inmates. What I'm basing that on is 31 federal inmates and 40 Cook County inmates. We've been in discussion with Cook County for quite a while. We had some, I guess I'd call it, for lack of a better term, I guess, improved discussions or dialogue last week. Basically, we've got 3 things left to do to meet what Cook County wants us to do in order to start housing their inmates. We have to have a conference with their medical people. And then once that's in, and we had that scheduled for last Thursday. They had to cancel it. It was postponed. My contact said she would either call me Friday or Monday. She said if I don't, call me back Tuesday. That's where we are. I'm still hopeful that we'll get it done this week, but trying to schedule things this time of year is not always the easiest to do. But I still believe we can. I think she'll probably call me tomorrow. We'll try to get it scheduled this week, hopefully. After that, then it just is a matter of you folks passing a resolution, entering into a intergovernmental agreement with Cook County and signing a contract, and then their board doing the same thing. So I asked her, I said, well, is the 1st of March too much to hope for here? And she indicated that that's a plausible target date. So the reason I'm saying that we need to roll back that $1,295,750 is that between the 1st of March and the 1st of December is 275 days as opposed to 365. So with the marshals inmates, you would you have 31 inmates at $50 a day at 365 days, because we'll have that many for the year. But with Cook County, you're only going to have them for 275 days. And so the marshal service comes to $565,750. The Cook County number would be $550,000. That's 40 times 50 times 275, which is just about 1.115 million, as opposed to the 1.295. So I think that needs to be adjusted to reflect a more true and accurate figure. that's the main, as far as the jail goes, that's the main source of revenue, is that, obviously, is housing. I mean, we have some other things there, but they're, for the most part, insignificant amounts. I mean, I think booking fees bring us in about $5,000 or $6,000 a year, and I think fingerprinting civilians, we charge $10 for that, and I think we might make $500 a year. But the big number, of course, is housing inmates. So on the other side of that ledger then, as far as the cost goes, and basically what we're talking about is $741.50 is the account number, which is the Board of Prisoners. That's figured by the number of prisoners that you have times your cost times the number of days that you have them. The cost works out. Now this basically is meals and incidentals. Your water, your heat, your electricity are figured in another part of the budget, so those calculations are made in that part of the budget as opposed to here. So basically all you're including here is meals, incidentals like uniforms, mattresses, those kind of things. Basically amounts to about $13 a day. The county, or the budget, reflects $337,000. We appropriated $427,000. The $337,000 is, again, that needs to be refigured, basically because it was figured wrong in two different ways, actually. First of all, I couldn't figure out why it was such a big difference between what we had appropriated at $427,000 and what had been put in there at $337,000. And then I realized what had happened was that when they calculated that number, they based that on 71 inmates. But they were also projecting at 20 county inmates, or 20 of our own inmates, and that wasn't added into that calculation. So rather than using 71 times the 13 times 365, they should have been using 91 times 13 times 365. And with what we're doing now with Cook County, that's not correct either, because again, you're not going to have the Cook County inmates for as long. So basically what you've got is 51 inmates. That's your 31 federal inmates, your 20 county inmates at $13 a day at 365 days a year, which I got it here someplace. I'm not sure what I say. Yeah, that would be about $250